Hey guys, and welcome back. As you can see by the image in front of you that I am doing some work on another VW bus. This, I'll give you a little bit of backstory on it, was through, let's see what's the best way to say it, the 70 convertible, the barn find that I found at 70 Standard Beetle convertible. After I acquired that, I was looking for a parts donor vehicle for that, and one of the things that were on Craigslist was a Super Beetle. I think it was like I'm not sure, 75, I guess a guess. And I thought it would have enough components. I think it had written up that it had like heater channels that were not installed yet, and some other metal patch panels that were in it. So I was kind of hoping I could reuse those and cut them up and scab them into the 70 convertible. So I went to go look at that, and unfortunately there was not enough to make it worthwhile, although the price is very cheap, to use on mine. So I ended up passing on that, but the friend that brought me over there to go show me that install the project had a VW bus, which you see in front of you here. So we got to talking, and from there we've kind of moved, I guess, to me doing some repair on it. So that's what it's in the garage for. It is getting some work done. I don't think he's had this very long. I'm not sure of that. I'm trying to remember the backstory. It is a 78 Westie. He has the interior out of it. And it's fairly clean underneath. And it has a pile of parts, as you can see, that need to get installed inside this. It has pretty much a complete exhaust system through the different boxes there. The battery tray is rotted out. We're going to go about fixing that. It needs a clutch. The clutch chatters when you let it out, and it grabs very low to the floor. We got some clutch cables, preload tube, clutch cable. I think there's a heater cable. The main heat tube right down there, if you can see it, that black, not the two little flexible ones, those that come off the heater boxes, but there's a main heat tube that runs across the center of the bus up to the front. That's inside there. Other things that need to be addressed: it has a gas leak at the gas tank we're going to look into, and possibly looking into the brakes. But we've got to pull the engine, do the clutch, do some welding on it. I got a thing over here somewhere. So we're doing clutch, gas tank, battery tray, exhaust. Oh, look for mouse nest and the heat tube for now, and then possibly looking into the brakes, but we're going to address that stuff first. So I figure I would turn the camera on, and I'm not going to show all the processes of pulling everything out, but I figure I'll try to grab the highlights of what we are working on and see if we can make a video out of it. So without further ado, I am going to start getting ready to actually, you know what we do? Let's go grab a light. We'll look underneath and see if we see anything abnormal. So that's the exhaust system that's on it now. You can see the mufflers getting ready to blow out right there. All the flanges are starting to get crappy. I think it's been boogered up and welded right there. So he has more of like a aftermarket style setup that's going to come with a header coming off the back of the engine. We'll see oil leaks. That's a good sign. A little wet around the oil filter. That's probably from maybe changing the oil filter. The rest of the, I think that's where he had the mouse nest. I think he's got it plugged up right there, the heat. That's the new flex tubes that he's going to have put in. There is the clutch, the heater cable up there. You can kind of see straight up. Got like a little odd, but he's got a new one of those. The body, although it's got like this, I don't know if that's overspray or is that, it's probably overspray. The top's been repainted, but it all looks original. You can see somebody's already painted it and body worked. You can see like there's some, Bondo lines and stuff. But as far as the metal, the general metalness of it, that's where that tube goes. You can see it goes, there's the end of it. So that would continue to that side right there. It's missing the front belly pan. He may have that off of there. But I think bay window's fairly easy to find. But the rest of it looks pretty decent. Yeah, it's not a pile of rust. Although it's rusty color, it's not, nothing's rotted on it that I can see. So, now having said that, I think we can start addressing getting the engine out. So I'm going to disconnect the battery and start with that, and then start getting a bunch of the sheet metal and tins out of the way of the back of the motor. And I'll bring you back when I feel it's a good time to bring you back. That one's got a little bit of a hole right there. This is the other side. This is not the side that we're replacing. I see a little bit of a hole there, but we can throw a little patch over that. And we're going to do that while the engine is out, obviously, because it just makes for an easier time of it. Plus, there's a gas leak. We want to take care of the gas leak before we start welding. So, I'm going to turn the camera off a little bit. You can see I'm kind of pulling some of the tins out of the way. There's a seal that goes all the way around. You guys can see that track there. It goes all the way around. That's a bit of a pain in the ass to get in or out of there on these. But something that needs to be done. You have to pull the fuel injectors out of that side to get some clearance under there. The thing is, I was under the impression that this engine was out, but I do not believe that hardware has been apart in almost forever. I know I think he's had access to the gas tank, which is behind that tin right there that we're going to get into. But I think it's going to fight me a little. Even to get the screws out of here just for this one tin was vice grips with a screwdriver through it, trying to spin them out of there. So this one's gonna wrestle us a little, but it is what it is. I took the fan out of the center. That usually hangs down the middle as a blower. That's over on the side. Batteries out of it, and just a couple of wires that we chased. And for shits and giggles, I throw little labels on them so we can tell where they went. There's a couple over there right now under the tape. And then the rest of it kind of just clicks off as harnesses. There is a computer right behind that wall. Focus, will you? All right. Behind that wall is a computer, so that's the big plug that you see here. And another socket off of that one, and then another plug up there off of that one. And they're just kind of laying on top of the engine. So we got to do exhaust on it. I don't think we have to take a bunch of the tins off. Hopefully there's no mice nest in it to have to go do that, but it's getting close. That and the throttle linkage has been disconnected. So getting there. I just want to show the hardware, what kind of shape it was in. So everything should be unbolted, and it's partially dropped down out of the front two mounts. And I have a piece of wood going across my lift to try to catch the transmission because there's nothing other than the one training mount holding it up. So let's see how this goes. I do believe I have one line connected to a heater box. When I get it pulled away, I'm going to try cutting it with wire cutters. There's a new one going in. The old one's just so rusted it won't come apart. I got a breather hose I forgot. Right in front, that's why I didn't see it. Let's see if I can reach that cable now. It's forward from the trains about an inch. go, and it's the one thing that's holding me. Come on. Going in. There. Hope that was it. Cut something else. I'm gonna let it down a little bit. Look good. Damn it. Don't mind that. Just hanging up on the CD joint. Let's go. I think we're almost down all the way. And let's bring the bus up. That's good. Good enough to get it out of there. Forgot a wire. I'll turn you on in a second. Yeah, I think we're good to wheel that out of there. It's a little bigger than a bug motor, huh? That's when they started getting real busy, you know? So we got a clutch issue. That's the first thing I kind of want to look into. We get set up, we'll take that clutch off. We want to take it off before we put it in a stand anyway. Yeah, let's get that clutch disc off of there. I already cracked them loose with a ratchet. And generally, especially stuff you're going to use over, you kind of want to take it off evenly, a little here and there. But we are going for new. So, don't criticize how I'm removing it, because I know. So let's see if we see anything in here that tells the tale of issues. Oof, that pressure plate looks like hell. Well, that is not, doesn't feel bad, but it just looks like. Rusty, rusty. Clutch disc. That's a hot spot there. It looks like just like somebody rode the clutch real hard and overheated it. Material wise, it's fine. The big question is the flywheel. That chatter doesn't look good right there. Right there, there, and there. Well, I'm going to put it in the engine stand. We're going to bring it up on the table. And we're going to go clean it up with a Scotch-Brite and get a better look at it. And that's what I think. So let's see how this works out. I took some brake clean and cleaned her up. And like definitely like right there. That's a hot spot. I didn't catch anything on it, but and then there was a little bit of burn right there. It's not terrible. I've seen definitely much worse than this. I would not say that this is terrible, but I would not say that this is pristine either. So there's like a little bit of chatter down in that area. Well, it kind of looks normal. The thing is it flat? You know, that's usually what the chatter probably comes from. Is everything flat? I'll show you something else in a minute. So I wouldn't say that, you know, you can see all the discoloration, but it's not heavily grooved. A little bit of pitting right there. I'm sure it's the original flywheel. Yeah. There's a spot there and there. So that's iffy, but I'll show you what's not. So here's the pressure plate. And it looks really kind of just rusty. I'm sure you could probably clean some of that surface off. Kind of iffy, the date on it. I'm not sure which way the date goes. Would it be 84? 79? Not quite sure on that. This one has an actual date on it. January 4th, I think it's 1983. It's either 3 or 6, but I'm going to go with 3. What do you think? And the material is not terrible. It's got some glazing going on it. It's not ridiculous. That side's definitely gotten hotter. But here's where your problem is. Pop you see all that center hub wobbling around? That ain't supposed to be doing that. That's supposed to be very snug. So every time you let off the clutch, this thing's kind of floating all over the place, not maintaining its location. And somewhere on it was actually hitting something. Not quite sure what it was rubbing on, but it was definitely smacking into something there. And then the hub is just hammered at it. That is not supposed to have any play really in it. It's meant so that when you dump the clutch, when the disc grabs, you got a little bit of give, a little bit something to take the shock, and that's where the springs come up, and that's why this has the capacity to move around it. But where's the new one? That's your new one. No floppy in that at all. So I'm probably going to bet more on 90% of it was the disc. Doesn't even look like it. I think the springs have got too much play in them, but everything's just gotten hammered. You see all the chattering on it. So you figure 83, 93, 2003, 2013. Is it 35 years old, something like that? It's served its purpose, I guess. So I am going to speak with him and see if he wants to put a flywheel in. If it's not terribly expensive, I think it would be a good time to do it. I would do a flywheel and a rear main seal while it's apart. It's not leaking, but the longevity of something is the longevity of something. So see if you can get a good one of those. A little chomping from mice going on over here. You can see where that main power lead going down is boogered up. Oh, sorry if the light's getting you. I got a new one on order. I do. These guys are chewed up. So remember that was coming off a pulse from the flywheel. It's not doing its job anymore. I don't know if it's tied into that plug or not. I don't think so. Injectors are out on this side. Do not see any mouse crap in there. There was, I did have an issue with mice, but let's see what we got up back. So now that is out of the way, we can take that gray tin off the back there. That's going to give us access to the gas tank. We're going to look into that. And then of course this area has to get cleaned up to remove that stuff so that we can work on welding in a new pan. So let me get some hardware set up and we'll get into there and see what that looks like. So focus for me. There we go. See if you can see what's wrong with this picture. That and that are supposed to be what's strapping down the gas tank. Then it has like these funky pieces of wood. I think we're supposed to try to, I don't know what they were supposed to do. I don't know if that was supposed to be the shims. That's no good. So I'll probably say just pull the gas tank right out of there so we can kind of inspect it, because I'm afraid it's been like rattling around and chafing down on the bottom side there, and I'm just hoping that it doesn't have a hole right through it. Those two yellow that you see up top, I believe, go to carbon canisters. They're vents for the tank for fumes to kind of get eliminated. But that needs to be fixed. So that strap, it looks like, I don't know if it's just, looks like it was cut. What do you think? Think it was cut? I don't think I wore out that, unless the line's right up to where the because it's not even underneath the vent hose. So I was thinking that that lined up to there. It feels like it was cut. That's what the holes look like. Yeah, it's like chopped a little bit. That one. That stud seems rather short. Seems like it would have a longer thing on there. So the piece is already even missing from here. So we are going to have a bit of a shopping list of some things to get. So if they're available, we'll probably end up grabbing some new straps. But again, I'm still tallying that list. So that's what I think. I probably want to, I hate dealing with gas, but get that siphoned out of there. Well, actually, I could probably siphon it right from the one that's hanging. Siphon, let that drain out, get that tank out of there. We can kind of get a better look at the sending unit and the gas gauge and all that anyway, which we have a seal for. And see if we have any other leaks. So that's where we're going to go. Out it comes. Make you want to pee. So that was an empty can. He didn't feel that was that much in there. We're gonna find out. So that's where the two lines kind of come out of the tank up there. It looks like some debauchery was chopped into that one to make it fit, huh? The other one. The other one looks a little on the bent up side there too, so I don't see it physically leaking though. I know the light's getting me. I promise, I got a new light coming. Trying to get you out of the shadow. The shadow of yourself. We're looking at that right there. Yeah, it's already kind of kicked on an angle. Then this one is a leaking. A little on the wet side there. And I see some wetness around here too. Now this should be the feed, I believe, and that should be the return. I'm not sure of that. So we are at, cheap, put the light behind it. Can we see? Oh, we're at the bottom still. We'll let that go for a while, and then we'll get those lines off of there. And I might put a little piece of little blocked fuel line on the end of those, just so when I'm wiggling the tank out, I'm not drinking all that crap. I'll probably take the stuff off the top though now while I'm waiting. So I'm gonna get that done. And the gas tank's out. So yeah, I'd say they probably cut that strap. Actually, the bolt was kind of screwed up on the bottom. They couldn't get it, so they just cut the strap. And I don't know if they got in there with a... You know what it is? They broke that one. They just broke that one right off. That's why that one's like that. So we'll see if those are available. If not, we're gonna have to repair what we got. But I'd rather have him have the right stuff. Gas tank. Alright. So this has the filter, should be the intake. And then this should be the return. This is kind of... They must have had a good time trying to get it in there too, because it was rough to try to get this to clear out of the hole. And the brazing is kind of crappy. And a little beat up on corrosion. You can see where the tank's been just kind of rattling in its spot where it's been touching. See them on the bottom there, got a bunch of chatter going across this where it's been just bouncing off the bottom of the pan there where it's been sitting. So that should have some, I believe it should have some felt pads that sits on, and then of course the two straps that go over the top. I don't know if the straps would have it on it or not. I'm just not that familiar with the later bay setup. May or may not. I also noticed some more mouse damage. He had a big problem with mice with this. It sat for, just like every VW, sat for a long time, but you can see right in there, that's all full of nest. So that's blown out. A little bit right here. That looks pretty good. So. Another problem dealing with the smell of fuel and some leaks. The fuel line is not the correct size coming out of the tank. It's too large. Kind of like what you see over here. It's more like an aftermarket pump and filter. I wonder if that, sorry about the light, that diameter is much larger than the rest of the system. So they tried stepping it up and then, you know, making up for it where the fittings are in the fuel tank. That guy just looks huge right there. Huge. So that might be the issue with that guy. And then they just tried to taper it down. I don't know what we're going to do about correcting that. Looks like it's got a bunch of different fittings on this side to make it work. I don't know if that's the fitting on the back side. I think it's just a... You guys can be able to see better than I can. What do you see? Anything? Don't worry about that when we're putting it back together. But that is not the correct size. And where'd that stuff go? Here you go. So here's the fuel line that was under there. Here's the pet. And without the clamp. That's how sloppy she is. No. That's kind of a no-no. I was able to take it, let's put it this way, I was able to pull this barb right out of there without even loosening the clamp, so it's beyond even the diameter of the clamp. You can see it's crushed all the way down. So that'll need to be addressed. That may or may not be some of the fuel smell, and also the charcoal canisters up in the wheel wells, they may be an issue too. So, but we definitely got to get the tank strapped down correctly. And that is not going to play well with its longevity. So I don't know if they just dropped the motor down and got that gas tank in there. Of course, it's a new tank. I'm not sure how they squeezed it in. They squeezed it in over the top of the motor. I don't know. But that is out of our way. I'm probably going to go stop for tonight. And tomorrow I could start on doing some welding on that section over there, the battery tray, get that out of there, probably do some patches on this one. There's a couple of little spots. Oh, I know something I want to show you too. Kind of funny. So the battery tray was patched from the top, and you see what I see. That 40 grit right there, that's sandpaper. And then they just took like fiberglass or filler next to it. That's it sticking out right there. And just kind of filled over the hole, and I guess probably just glazed over the top of the sandpaper to make a patch. Some way there. It actually wasn't terrible. I'm surprised they would go through that kind of debauchery for, well, no, I'm not surprised. More Bondo sticking out of it there and there. So we're going to try and keep this lip, because we won't want to blow through the outside of the paint. We're going to kind of sister it in, and then we can remove it completely on this side. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Alright guys, so I am going to shut her down. Again, thanks everybody for watching, comment, subscribing, and I'll see you soon.